Oh shit. There you go. Okay. Let me do a sound level check. Hey, AG.
Yo, what's up? For shizzle. Hitting it from behind, you know what I mean?
Alright, we're at minus 20. I guess I could turn you up now. That's probably a good level. T-minus 1 minute.
Oh, side note, I was
Yeah.
getting ready to perform the act of sex with my fiance, right?
Okay.
And as I took off my clothes, I saw myself in the mirror, and I just started staring at myself, and I started flexing, doing different poses. And she eventually was like, "Are you gonna come over here?" And I go, "Oh," because I got so distracted, I zoned out, and I just kept looking at myself. And then I went and did it, and then as soon as I was done, I went back to looking at myself.
You should have been like, sorry, baby, you know? I'm kind of in the mood to just go fuck myself.
Nah, if I could, I would.
You fucking retard. Okay.
She gave me a compliment when I was doing it. She said I was starting to look like I was more athletic.
That's a good start. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
But on that note, welcome everybody to the 14th installment of the AVC'S show. I am your lovely host, Angry Vegan Cyclist, and here we have with us Alcoholic Gaming. So
What up, doe?
yeah, yeah. I mean, how's your channel doing? Do you want to shill yourself, or you don't really care?
My channel's there. I haven't really touched it just because I haven't felt like it. Although I may record some stuff tonight and record and edit it, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, go check it out. See if he does something. Go poke him with a stick, and to see how the organism responds. It's a very quality scientific.
Tell you what,
there.
if there is anybody listening and you want me to post anything on my YouTube channel, go to my YouTube channel, make some kind of weird comment on any kind of video, doesn't matter what video, and then I will post whatever you want me to post.
Make it as sexual as possible. That's a good way to get his attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, yeah, I know. I guess just some housekeeping. I know that I haven't been as active on my server. I can't really find too much for Hater Hour, and not many people are dropping anything by, so I just kind of sort of dropped it. But for the most part, I try to be even-handed in my analysis of the topics, the articles, or what have we before us on every show. But again, I know it sounds like me just asking you to do my work for me, but if you have anything you want me to talk about, if you have any questions, or you just want to talk shit, go to my Discord server. Drop some comments on my videos on either MGTOW or YouTube. Stay engaged, because it makes it more interesting, so I don't have to do a bunch of solo shows like I have been this past 3 weeks. So, anyway, with that begging aside, yeah, I think we've got some topics lined up, and we'll just see how the show goes. You ready, AG?
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
go.
let's fuck. No homo. Okay. So, from 1945, which is like this kind of like military nerd news journal of sorts, is doing something that I thought was rather bold, considering the political climate of the past, I don't know, almost 3 years. Anyway, so the headline is, quote, something is really wrong with Joe Biden. Story by Brent M. Eastwood. Which I know reading this, you're like, duh. Like, he's just a demented old, like, pedophile, pretty much. But the fact that the press is now has the balls to say that is rather noteworthy. So before I dive into the article, my question is, like, since when do they decide, like, usually, like for how long now that YouTube has been censoring anyone who talks, like, who says that, oh, well, the Democrats stole the election, which they probably did. I mean, I'm 50-50 on that theory, by the way. And anyone talking about, oh, like, the coronavirus is actually, oh, geez, well, there goes my fuck. I'm probably going to be removed. I probably just got my stream removed there. But, you know, the Cororo, that's why I put
Corona
it.
beer.
Yes, Corona beverages, not at all the disease, is of questionable status, to say the least. Anyone who talks about that is just getting fucking removed. So all of a sudden now, okay, well, why the hell is this, like, military nerd journal able just literally starting out talking mad shit? So Joe Biden, something really fucked up with Joe Biden, and it shows just like this picture of him looking confused. Like, it's pretty suggestive. So I wonder how long this article is going to stay up online, and if it does get removed, well, your homeboy brought and took note of it before it went away, right? So, anyway, unless AG's got more to add, I can start with reading the article.
Even when Biden was vice president, Barack Obama didn't like him. Barack Obama thought of him as old, dopey, slow, and he even made public comments about Biden about how he just didn't respect him.
Does he even respect himself? Like, does he even remember what the fuck that is?
Probably not.
Yeah.
The dude's fallen up the flight of stairs on Air Force One twice.
Up, not down. Up. Oh, jeez. Anyway, I guess we'll get started. So, first line says Joe Biden at a loss for words during a softball question from a child, colon. Well, he makes gaffes frequently in the United States. Why not in another country? President Joe Biden's 4-day Ireland trip was designed for him to bond with people and take a victory lap with an adoring audience. This is why his latest communications mishap is so notable. He took a friendly question from a child in a low-pressure situation and made it one of Joe Biden's trademark displays of confusion. Okay, what else? Where is this going? Okay, sub-headline, Joe Biden...
Is that a video of it? Or is that just another...
Actually, oh shit, 1945 has a YouTube channel. Okay, I guess we'll play it. Ooh, that's loud.
There's one word that could stop Joe Biden. Age. Joe Biden is finally admitting that his advanced age is an issue. The 80-year-old, who's the oldest president...
Oh shit. Actually, no, hold on. Let me change the stream so you can actually hear it, because I thought the subtitles would be everywhere. Come on. Fuck. Okay. All right. Audio check for AG.
Yep.
Volume good?
I can't hear it, but I don't...
Stop Joe Biden.
I could just...
Age. Joe Biden is finally admitting that his advanced age is an issue. The 80-year-old, who's the oldest president in history, recently told David Muir of ABC News that concerns about his age are totally legitimate. Yet the president added that he is not contemplating his age when considering whether to run again. Biden was frank with Muir. It's legitimate for people to raise issues about my age, he said. It's totally legitimate to do.
a video. There was leaked audio of him and one of his security guards walking with him, and the dude was telling him, all right, Mr. President, we're going to take a right here. We're going to go down the steps. All right, here's so and so. And Biden was like, oh, I don't know them. He goes, that's okay. It's okay. I'll walk you through it. And just awful. Like, the dude has to be like paraded around, and he has to have someone following him. Let us never forget that the Easter Bunny fucking paraded around fucking Biden back when last year, was it? The fall of Afghanistan. He was talking to some reporters, and he just started talking about Afghanistan. This Easter Bunny fucking showed up and like got in front of him and like waved his hands in front of him, and then like he followed the Easter Bunny around.
I mean, come on, that's just adorable. Like, let the geriatric old fuck have some fun on his way out. Why would you want to get in the way of that, huh?
All right, move on.
Anyway.
Do that. And the only thing I can say is, watch me. Biden would be 82 when sworn in should he win re-election. Many ordinary Democratic voters who've watched him over the years are concluding that he should step away, allow someone new to take his place. The polls reflect this view. Republican presidential candidates, for their part, are already making his age a main issue. The former South Carolina governor and ex-UN ambassador Nikki Haley delivered an especially stinging barb, saying that all political candidates over the age of 75 should be forced to pass a mental acuity test. Former President Donald Trump agrees, as do 38 congressional Republicans who wrote Biden requesting that he take a cognitive test. The White House said such a requirement reeks of ageism, and Joe Biden has successfully defended himself from questions about his age in the past. He won in 2020, after all. However, foibles and low-pressure ceremonial duties have the Biden detractors in his own party worried. In an appearance in Poland, Biden seemed unable to walk straight on a red carpet during a military review. He's appeared to try to shake hands with thin air. And Joe Biden once seemed to need a young girl to guide him by the hand to exit the stage after a speech. He also often misspeaks and says nonsensical things in public. Ultimately, Biden will be judged at the ballot box. In 2020, he earned 81,283,098 votes, or 51.3% of the votes cast. Trump called him Sleepy Joe, but the winning tally showed that the majority of the American people thought he could shake off the disadvantages of old age and lead the country effectively. People wanted government experience, and they certainly got it in Biden, who served as vice president for 8 years and in the Senate for decades. The re-election campaign could be different, as Joe Biden has shown some alarming propensities to have embarrassing moments. He's rarely seen doing anything taxing. The one time he was shown on a bicycle, he fell over after stopping to talk to voters. He suffered no injury, but the clumsiness was alarming. Of course, Donald Trump is no Ironman triathlete himself. He doesn't seem to exercise much, except for playing golf. But other possible candidates are much younger or physically active. Haley is 51. Author and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, who just announced a presidential run, is only 37. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is 44. He played baseball in college and served in the military. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who's 57, works out regularly and plays pickup basketball. So expect the Republicans to make age an issue in this campaign. Biden's handlers will likely make sure the president denies his advanced age is a factor. The faltering and hesitating performances during public appearances must be minimized by Biden. It'd be easy to splice together a number of senior moments into an attack ad that would question his alacrity in public. The biggest test for Biden will be the presidential debates in 2024. A good performance in those forums could put the age question to bed, or it could haunt him enough to scare independent voters away.
So, yeah. I mean, as funny as that is, thoughts, comments, emotional outbursts?
Not really.
All right. Oh. I guess okay. Just for shits and giggles, I think there's more laughable moments in the article, so I'll keep reading. All right. The latest bungle happened in April 12th in Dublin, Ireland. The White House had refused to conduct an official news conference, which rankled the press corps. So, Biden did an impromptu question and answer session with children. It should have resulted in a cute and endearing moment, but Biden struggled it through the quote-unquote interview. What's the top step to success? Oh, I'm sorry. What's the top step to success? A child asked the president. Biden appeared to have misheard the question and asked, what's the top what? What are we talking about? The child clarified and repeated the question by repeating the word steps. Then Biden, instead of giving a inspiring answer that would encourage the child, for example, to say, study hard, stay in school, and pursue your passion, Biden said, "Oh well, making sure that we don't all have COVID. Why are we talking? What are we talking about here?" He asked. Oops. Joe Biden was drowning and he needed help fast. This is when his son Hunter entered the picture and repeated the question, attempt to throw a lifesaver to the president. You can't offer simple advice. Oh, what's the key to success? You know what I found what the key to success is? And I'm not sure I'm the best guy to explain it. These guys can tell you. This is especially funny considering his fucking background. Then he launched into an unlikely answer that explained how to act when you disagree with someone. And that was a reply you would hardly inspire young people to be the best they can be. Subheadline, perfect opportunity to inspire. Biden's latest difficulty makes you wonder what is going on through his mind. He's obviously not quick on his feet. His former boss, President Barack Obama, who would have hit this question right out of the park, perhaps discussing the need to overcome adversity and create an opportunity that allows an unlikely person to become a hero through grit and perseverance. It is telling that Hunter had to come to the rescue, and it had the usual Biden critics taking to social media and wondering if younger Biden was acting as some kind of press secretary for the president. Youngsters have been forced to assist Biden in the past. Once a young girl had to help a bewildered and lost president off of the stage, she took his hand and guided an unsteady president away from the podium. After another address, First Lady Jill Biden also had to tell him how to get off the stage when he concluded his speech about the Americans with Disabilities Act last year. During the Ireland episode, he promised to give an autograph, but forgot to do so. There was one heartfelt moment where a child asked about the presidential dog. My dog is doing well. His name is Commander. What's your doggy's name? But a child was crying in the background and it blocked out his reply. It's not clear if the answer was heard by the children. During the Ireland trip, he also mistakenly referred to the All Blacks New Zealand national rugby team as the Blacks and Tans in a gaffe that confused people in both New Zealand and the United Kingdom. Overall, this encounter is not going to risk any diplomatic incidents that could have jeopardized international relations. But this is vintage Joe Biden. He doesn't understand simple questions. He looks clueless, and he says the wrong things. It's a wonder that he has made it this far in his political career. More displays like this, and he will have additional people questioning if he can pull out effective leadership in a real crisis. Something that would be more serious than innocent questions from children. I mean, this just sounds like a textbook case of like dementia or some kind of brain degradation due to old age. I mean, no.
Jimmy Carter will be able to rest easy knowing that he's not the worst president.
I don't know. There's a lot of people taking the spot for worst president. I mean, how about Woodrow Wilson or FDR? I mean, in terms of like
what got us into the Civil War.
Yeah, in terms of like what they may have done during their term is not that bad, but like the long-term consequences of like further in hindsight, like those guys take the cake. I think Joe Biden's just like a runner-up to those, if you ask me.
Well, the fact is that whoever is posting on his Twitter account's clearly not him. It's his
dude.
It's his party.
He's just a fucking faceplate.
Stuff for him.
He's like the badge in front of your car. It just says what team he's on or who made him. But if you take off the badge, I mean, does that affect the function of the vehicle? No. That's his only job at this point. Like, well, he's useless to the party. He's just there as a talking head, and he's kind of failing that job too. So I guess at some point the Democrat Party, if they want to stay relevant, they got to replace him with none other than Kamala Harris, the
Gavin
Vice
Newsom.
President of the United States as of right now. To which, and then nice segue here. I know, 1945 wrote an article calling her.
I think they're going to
useless.
go for Gavin Newsom.
I don't know. That'll be your topic because I haven't been keeping up as much as I could be. Because does it even matter at this point? Like I'm sure there's a quote for this, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Any influential figure seldom acts alone. He is a product of some of his own thoughts, in addition to his cabinet or his immediate advisors. And the Democrat Party is clearly more than just Joe Biden. So, I mean, there's Kamala Harris. Like if Joe, people like say, "Oh, I hate Joe Biden. I want him to die." Like, okay, let's say you hypothetically dispose of him, to put nicely. Who are they going to replace him with? That's right, this thing right here. And if you get rid of her, violently or not, who's going to replace her? No, I guess. Well, did the Republicans take the House? And I'm sorry, the Speaker of the House is a Republican, right? Well, that's not a guarantee. Whoever it is, does that matter? And does that matter either? Let's say if he's just a rhino, is he going to end up passing the policy that you want for your country? Well, no. Like if you just have some kind of John McCain looking motherfucker in the Speaker of the House position, what does that change? So anyway, unless you have something to add, we can go straight to this next article from 1945. Or actually, let's go look briefly at the comments for the "Something is Really Wrong with Joe Biden" article. LJ the Third, quote, what are we talking about here? He asked. This is your president, not Trump, for you, Biden voters. Happy now? I hope your wallet is hurting more than mine. You deserve it. Go-Getter replies, I'm very happy, capital H happy, exclamation mark, and my wallet and 401k is doing better than ever before, double exclamation mark. Let's go Biden. And the funny thing, Fat Man says, the funny thing is they could have picked Tulsi, but they picked this fool instead.
Yes, but Tulsi actually has her head on her shoulders.
Tulsi's like the opposite of a rhino. So like a rhino is just a Republican that sucks dick for the Democrats, and Tulsi's kind of like a Democrat that's just sort of low key shilling for like the Republican interests. Plus, I don't know. Hold on. Also, just as a fan service. Surfboard. I don't know if I got her mixed up with someone else, but I saw her. Oh wow, she surfs. Look at that. Look at that. That's not bad. You not like surfer girls? Come on.
Yeah. Let's keep moving.
Okay, anyway. Okay, let's go to the Kamala Harris article. Written by Brandon Weichert. Starting with Kamala's bold font, Kamala Harris might be president, President Joe Biden has yet to announce that he is running for re-election officially, though most assume that he is running again. If Biden were to run again, If Biden were to run again and win a re-election in 2024, by the time he was sworn in, he'd be 82 years old. As of 2020, the average male life expectancy was 77 years in the United States. Biden would be 5 years past that. Given the high stress of the presidency, And the fact that Biden already has health problems, his vice presidential pick is more likely to be far important than it normally is for most voters. Subheadline, uninspiring to the core. Kamala Harris is an uninspiring figure. She rose to power in the most dubious ways by beginning her time in California politics and having an affair with the politically connected Willie Brown. Heels up Harris. Once in power, Harris spent her time maneuvering herself into national political office, eventually landing a Senate seat representing California. While in the United States Senate, Harris failed to distinguish herself other than falsely accusing President Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of rape. Harris couldn't even properly assassinate the character of an innocent Republican jurist whose only crime was being exceptional at his job. When she ran for president, Harris was billed as the female Barack Obama who would usher in a new rainbow coalition-driven future for America. You know, 1945 is kind of a cringe journal in my opinion, but they're making some nice pot shots here. I gotta give them that. Anyway. So her campaign for presidency in 2020 was so unimpressive that she bailed out of the Democratic Party's presidential primary that year before her own state of California voted, fearing that she would lose even there. So, oh look, another video. Kamala Harris meets with lawmakers after Democrats expelled over anti-gun protests. Not relevant. Okay. The article continues. Thanks to civil rights icon Senator James Clyburn, a Democrat from South Carolina, who many suspect told Joe Biden that he'd only support Biden's fledgling presidential campaign if Biden chose a woman of color to be his number two, Kamala Harris. Harris was given her current position as vice president. As vice president, Kamala Harris has been given what is some to believe to be a poison pill portfolio that includes resolving the embarrassingly broken United States border crisis, ending the Russia-Ukraine war, and preventing a space war with Russia and China. Fuck. All of that for a woman.
I'm down. I'm down for the space war. Let's go.
Oh my god! I don't know if you want that. All that for a woman who cannot seem to sync her lips with her voice or learn what times are appropriate and inappropriate to cackle in public. Subheadline, Harris by the numbers. As for Vice President Harris's approval numbers, they're in the toilet. Her approval rating of the week of April 7 is 49.8% with a disapproval rating of 39.3%. Sure, it's not entirely awful. My Vice President Mike Pence's approval rating hovered around about 47%. At the same time, however, the way that Harris was billed at the start of her ascent towards the White House, the expectations that she would be the next great president in waiting, who would bring another perspective to the White House, was one of her key appeals for the voters. Yet her record clearly shows the limits of these expectations. In the role of number two, these features and flaps are mildly humorous. If she were to be made president because Biden cannot complete his term due to an age-related crisis, Harris's negatives would be far more concerning. Subheadline: It's 3 a.m. What do you want answering the phone? No, who do you want answering the phone? Imagine that 3 a.m. emergency phone call coming through to a President Kamala Harris, in which she would be required to clearly think on her feet, initiate decisive action, and stay plugged into the crisis until it abated. Judging from a record in government thus far, Kamala Harris is almost completely useless. That's why it's incumbent upon the Democratic National Committee to push Harris out as Biden's number two, if he in fact is running. She cannot run this country. Harris can barely run her office. Come to think of it, given his age and under failure as a president, Biden shouldn't be running at all. Everything is falling apart under his leadership. We need a new generation of dynamic leaders for both parties to put their hats in the ring and offer a bold vision for the future. It's time for Biden to dump Harris, and maybe himself while he's at it. So this article's ending with the wish of like, okay, why can't we be friends? We need to hold hands and sing Kumbaya around a campfire, which obviously isn't going to fucking happen. However, if the cooler heads prevail, they realize that, okay, well, we can fight about trannies and in their bathrooms, and pronouns, and fucking, I don't know, kids reading fucking, I don't know, 50 Shades of Grey as part of sex ed all we want. But those aren't the only problems. Those probably really aren't the biggest problems facing our country. There's all these international fuck ups that the Democratic Party has done. Oh, for the, geez, how many, well, God, I'm having a fucking Biden moment right now. I guess 3 years, first term. Yeah. There's a lot more immediately pressing issues that make what really is capturing a lot of people's attention on the news, at least in the United States, kind of need to be thrown on the back burner. Maybe. I don't know. So whenever there's a common thread that, I guess for better or worse, that the Biden administration has built up this past 3 years, yeah, you gotta stop worrying about what books your kids are reading whenever, I don't know, there is a threat of hyperinflation from the on the U.S. dollar. There is threat of a third world war between China / Russia / whatever the BRICS system is versus the West. Yeah. I don't know. I think there's more and more evidence to see that there's kind of like a rightward push that the Democrats have really fucked up this past 3 years. And even in the latest, if you guys remember the Biden's State of the Union address, it sounds like he's trying to appeal to a bit more of the Republican Party. But the United States is still the United States. It still has the same fucking problems. And it starts with the people. So, I don't know. What do you think? Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I forgot I had my push to talk on, so I don't give you any bad sounds. I think it's like every 100 years there's a new dominating economy in the world, and the U.S. is definitely on its way out.
Yep.
It's not out yet, but it's on its way out. So I believe Russia, China, India, Brazil, which was a big one because Brazil has a really, really big economy, and a few other countries got together and they're working on a new currency that's not the U.S. dollar that they could use for
the BRICS
trade, because the U.S. dollar is too volatile right now. It's being used as a political weapon against Russia.
Let's see what the BRICS system is. Okay. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So I'm guessing the BRICS is just like it's like a counterbalance to the EU, the United Nations, and the United States. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. Let me see the website. Come on.
What's really cool, and it's something that a lot of people probably never think about, you could take a $20 bill and you could take it to any country and everybody will know what it is, and it's accepted all around the world. And that is going to change. It's probably not accepted in Russia right now, probably not accepted in China, but you could take American money, you could take it anywhere, and you could have it exchanged for other money, or you could use it to buy goods and services in other countries. Like if you took a $20 bill to Mexico, everybody in Mexico knows what American money looks like. They'd take that shit, no questions asked.
Very interesting. What another friend I should probably tell them about?
Maybe in the future this new currency will be the new shit. People will stop caring about the US dollar and they'll start accepting this other other currency. Oh, another country that got in on it, I think, that's thinking about it is the Saudis. The Saudis go over there. That'll be a uh, definite good thing for this new currency because what do the Saudis have? Oil.
Yeah, they have something to back the currency too.
Yep. You back it with fucking oil. Why not? Or gold.
And just for a refresher, what's the U.S. dollar backed by?
Pixie dust.
I would say a lot of very large, muscular, transgender women
Well, it's.
and guns.
I mean, it's back. So, what is an American dollar? It's not backed by gold, and it's just printed by the Federal Reserve, right? So
Yeah.
it has to be worth something. So, what I think it is I think it's just based off of how many assets the U.S. has. We have a lot of assets. We do still have a lot of natural resources. We do still have a really big population. We have factories. We have a lot of that stuff. So it's just America.
Right. It's just it's just the dirt. A lot of dirt, but it's still dirt. I think
a lot of farming.
So like, I have some connections in Asia telling me that the censorship of, for example, I think it's still the case that a lot of Google products are completely inaccessible from China. And I'm told by this connection that the censorship has nothing to do with politics. It's all about money and keeping money with, well, I guess that kind of is a political issue. Well, all right, let me revise my statement. The censorship is not about controlling information. It's about controlling the direction of money. The idea is that by censoring American services, American like IT services going to China, it forces production of domestic services within China. For example, there's no Google Play. There's an alternative in China for Google Play. There is a lot of things that, okay, instead of, for example, Discord is probably not normally accessible with the Chinese IP. So what they have this thing called, I think it's called like WeChat, or a lot of Chinese people that use WhatsApp. But then WhatsApp's probably going to get removed too because WhatsApp's owned by like Facebook/Meta, right? So it sounds like the United States is kind of doing the same thing. They're starting to expel Chinese media companies like TikTok. And then they're starting to lock down and say, oh, well, we need to build American IT by pumping a bunch of ESG money and all kinds of like really shady bullshit into the Silicon Valley giants like Meta, like, I don't know if Amazon really counts. What else? Yeah, that's just another way to engage this stupid pussy ass Cold War that we're doing right now with the BRICS countries for the most part. So, I guess chiefly Russia, and now China's sort of leaning towards Russia, it seems. Yeah.
I will be back. Just keep talking.
Okay. So, well, he left at a bad time. So, yeah, I just think that's kind of interesting. There's already an article. You can go check this out. It's literally from BRICS.org, and apparently this is a not secure domain, which doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah, people are gonna start dumping the dollar because it's just, what the fuck is it worth? It's being printed with pixie dust and hopes and dreams, I guess. So, yeah. Oh, well, we got some dead air, so I guess I will have a commercial break. I need to grab it. I need to go grab a snack, and I guess I'll get back when AG is. So. Oh. There we go. Okay.
There's something I forgot to do. I'll stay in the chat, but I'm gonna have to go mobile. I'll stay muted and answer questions when I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Alright. Just, are we still on the changing currency topic?
It sort of wasn't really a topic. We just found a BRICS article. And I just told the audience to read it. I mean, we got other topics, but I could read this if you want.
I'm down for whatever.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll have a surprise topic. It's going to be a bit longer of a show, and that's okay. So, this article is from infobricks.org. Just so you know, consider your conflicts of interest before listening to me read the article to you. Oh, when was this? This was just yesterday. Okay. Dumping the dollar. Will a new BRICS currency replace the U.S. currency for trade? That's the title of the article, and it starts with, quote, the U.S. dollar has been the official currency for international trade for years now. However, in recent times, there has been talk of creating a new currency in an attempt to dump the dollar to push back against American hegemony. The de-dollarization has received a boost in recent times, especially after the Russia-Ukraine war began last February. And last week, this movement has... Oh, by the way... Okay, all right. The Russia-Ukraine war has been... The conflict has been going on way longer than February. Come on now. I don't care what fucking Wikipedia says. It's been happening for many years. But, I don't... whatever. Anyway, so with that noted... A quote, and last week, this movement received further impetus when Alexander Babakov, I guess, the deputy chairman of the state Duma, was quoted as saying that the BRICS nations are in the process of creating a new medium for payments, established on a strategy that, quote, does not defend the dollar or euro. Is the BRICS nations actually creating a new currency for trade? Who's at the forefront of this movement? Will it benefit India? Will the plan actually fructify? There are several questions to this issue, and we try to answer them all. Subheadline: dethroning the king of currency. The United States dollar has been called the king of currency. It has become the official reserve currency in the world in 1944. The decision was made by a delegation of 44 allied countries. 44 allied countries that became the Bretton Woods Agreement. Since then, the dollar has enjoyed a powerful status in the world. It has given the U.S. a disproportionate amount of influence over the other economies. In fact, the U.S. has long used imposition of sanctions as a tool to achieve foreign policy goals. However, not everyone likes playing by the U.S. rules, and countries like Russia and China would like to call a halt to dollar hegemony. This process is called de-dollarization, and refers to reducing the dollar's dominance in global markets. It is a process of substituting the U.S. dollar as the currency used for trading oil and other commodities. The proponents of de-dollarization say that this process would reduce other countries' dependence on the U.S. dollar and U.S. economy, which would help mitigate the impact of economic and political changes in the U.S. on their own economies. Moreover, countries can reduce their exposure to currency fluctuations and interest change rates, which can help improve economic stability and reduce the risk of financial crises. This move has been gaining speed in the last few years, especially in the previous year. In 2022, the International Monetary Fund noted that central banks today are not holding the greenback as reserves in the same quantities as yesteryear. Quote, the dollar's share of global foreign exchange reserves fell below 59% in the final quarter of last year, extending a two-year decade decline. According to the IMF's currency composition of official foreign exchange reserves data, the paper stated. Strikingly, the decline in the dollar's share has not been accompanied by an increase in the shares of the pound sterling, yen, and euro, other long-standing reserve currencies. Rather, the shift out of dollars has been in two directions. A quarter into the Chinese renminbi, and 3/4 into the currencies of smaller countries that have played a more limited role as reserve currencies. So to punish Russia for its invasion of Ukraine, Western governments froze $300 billion worth of Russia's foreign currency reserves last year, roughly half the total, and expelled Russian banks from the SWIFT international payment systems. As Jason Hollins, managing director of the investment platform Best Invest, explains, quote, the so-called dollar weaponization has rattled many countries and not just Russia. Further quote, countries willing to contribute to trade with Russia, like India and China, have started doing so in rupees and yuan instead, triggering talk of the de-dollarization of the international trading order. He added that Brazil and China are now trading with each other in yuan, helping to establish the Chinese renminbi as a international currency and dollar challenger. India, too, has been trying to move away from the dollar. Recently, 18 countries, including UK, Germany, Russia, and even the United Arab Emirates, have been given permission to trade in Indian rupees. In February, noted economist Nouriel Roubini had said that the Indian rupee over time could become one of the global reserve currencies in the world. In an interview to ET Now, the economist nicknamed Dr. Doom had said, only one can see how the rupiah could become for some of the trade that India does with the rest of the world, especially the South-South trade, could become a vehicle currency. It, the Indian rupee, could be a unit of account, it could be a means of payment, it could become a store of value. Currently, rupiah, over time, could become one of the variety global reserve currencies in the world. Quote, the BRICS currency. Taking this forward, the BRICS collective, made of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are also creating a new currency to facilitate trade. Oh shit, my cover's still on. Whoops. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Anyway, it is reported that the new financial segment agreement could be seen as soon as in August, where the countries meet for their annual summit in South Africa. Oh, there goes AG. Oh, he's back. Sources have disclosed that Russia is behind the idea, as it has faced economic sanctions from the West over the invasion of Ukraine. Alexander Babakov highlighted the fact that Russia and India would both benefit from the creation of a common currency that could be used for payments, calling it, quote, the most viable route to take at this time. Quote, New Delhi and Moscow should institute a new economic association with a new shared currency, which could be a digital ruble or the Indian rupee, Babakov was quoted as saying. He went on to note that China would also play a crucial role in the development of a common currency with an additional 1.4 billion participants to the system. Jeez. Quote, New Delhi, Beijing, and Moscow are the nations that now institute a multipolar world that is endorsed by the majority of governments, he said. Quote, its composition should be based on inducting new monetary ties established on a strategy that does not defend the U.S. dollar or euro, but rather forms of a new currency competent of benefiting our shared objectives. End quote. Interestingly, Brazil has already begun to accept trade settlements and investments in yuan. India and Russia have the rupee-ruble mechanism for trade, in which they settle dues in rupees instead of dollars or euros. This shows that the BRICS nations are intending to change the dollar or dominated system, which could eventually lead to the de-dollarization across the globe. Subheadline, implications of a BRICS currency. If the BRICS nations could go ahead with their plan and come up with a new currency, it could help stabilize their economies. For an investor in BRICS countries, it would mean increased consumer confidence. This would lead to an uptick in spending and economic growth. Well, will India accept this new currency? Will it want to be economically aligned with China, with whom it is having a standoff at the border? Moreover, some experts say that this new deal might benefit Beijing more than New Delhi. What happens next is unknown, but the fact that the dollar is losing power is certain. We shall keep an eye on this topic and get you more on this in the future. From firstpost.com. I don't know. Yeah, that's quite the sales pitch. Go get your I don't know, bricks coin and hold that shit to the moon, I guess. Like, what the fuck? Any more thoughts?
What they're trying to offer is reliability.
Yeah. There's actually something that might be backing this BRICS currency, whatever the hell they might call it.
Labor. They have tons of labor.
Yeah.
Brazil,
Labor,
India,
Saudi oil,
China.
Yeah. Other than fakeness and gayness and debt, I mean that's a good better basis to build your currency upon. Yeah. I don't know. I will admit a lot of this is going over my head. It's kind of beyond my purview of knowledge, but I probably should pay attention to it. I should learn more about it as the days go on. So, yeah, okay. Unless you have anything else to add, I guess we can go to either Bud Light or the Pentagon leak.
Pentagon leak.
All right. So, from BBC News, just a day ago, by Olga Robinson.
BBC.
Yes. Yes, BBC. By Olga Robinson, Cheyenne Sardarazadeh, and Jake Horton. Very, very ethnically diverse authorship in this article. Titled, Pentagon Leak, How Secret U.S. Files Spread, Then Vanished Online. Ooh, spooky. So, all right. Bold font subheadline. The suspected leader of a large batch of U.S. military documents, Jack Teixeira, has been charged in a Boston court and detained pending trial. But where did the classified files come from, and how were they shared online? We've pieced together what we know about how they first appeared and where they spread online. Subheadline, first appearance of documents. So the documents were initially posted on a small private chat group, probably Discord, called, quote, Bear versus Pig. This itself was a subgroup of another known as, quote, Thug Shaker Central on the, I called it, Discord social media platform. Both were accessible by invitation only and had around 24 members. In court papers in support of Mr. Teixeira's arrest, the FBI says he first posted classified information online as paragraphs of text, quote, in or around about December 2022. It says he then posted paragraphs of documents, quote, in or around January 2023. Subheadline, who was in the initial chat group? In the interviews within the Washington Post and New York Times, members of Thug Shaker Central say they had initially met in another Discord group dedicated to fans of a YouTuber who posts videos about guns and military gear. These members say that during the COVID lockdowns, they broke away to form their own private group and that Mr. Teixeira was the driving force in this close-knit community. Members of group say it not only contained U.S. citizens, but also others from Ukraine, Russia, South America, and elsewhere. For a few months, the classified documents remained private to this group. Public sharing of the documents. Attention was focused on an individual with the username Luca, who, in early March, has posted some of the documents on a public channel on Discord called wow_Mao. The same user was also a member of the Thug Shaker Central community, according to New York Times. Shortly afterward, in another public Discord channel, during a brief argument about the online game Minecraft and the war in Ukraine. What the fuck? A user says, quote, here, have some leaked documents, and posted several screenshots. So here's a heavily censored picture of a Discord conversation where someone with a white user pic said, nah, I'm not oversensitive. LML.
Here you go, King. Here's some top secret documents that'll get me arrested for treason.
Thanks, King, bro. You're the fucking MVP. And the reply to that state is, here, have some leaked documents from some guy with a reddish user pic. It was following this public sharing of the documents that Mr. Teixeira quickly deleted Thug Shaker Central. including a subgroup Bear vs. Pig. On the 5th of April, screenshots of documents appeared on the message board 4chan, one of the biggest and most controversial hubs of internet subculture. They were shared on one of 4chan's most notorious boards known as /poll, standing for politically incorrect, by anonymous users during an argument about the exact number of Ukrainian and Russian casualties that there had been during the conflict, or had been in the conflict. Just a few hours later, these documents began appearing on pro-Kremlin Telegram channels and were picked up by prominent military bloggers. So this post, apparently, wow, 4chan has really updated their user interface since I last looked at it. One post says, quote, "Some very interesting politically leaked intel eyeballs emoji. The authenticity cannot be confirmed, but looks to be very damning NATO information." So I don't know what happened here. I don't know if this is like a formatting thing, but there's unusually large space on the beginning and end of NATO here. I don't know. I'd pay attention to that. That might have been shopped. Just saying. One image widely circulated by Russian channels was edited to reduce the number of Russian troops killed and inflate the Ukrainian losses. Press X to doubt. By 7th of April, the documents were also circulating on some of the major social media platforms such as Twitter and Reddit. Subheadline: Russian response. Initially, pro-Kremlin Telegram channels who shared the screenshots did not dwell much on the authenticity of the documents, focusing largely on their content. But soon, several prominent channels on media outlets started to lean towards portraying the documents to be at least partly fake. An expert, quoted by ultranationalist news website Regnum, suggested the documents may be a deliberate leak aimed at providing a smokescreen for the Ukrainian counteroffensive. On state TV, Yuri Podolyaka, the prominent war commentator, said that this planted information intended to mislead Russia about the counteroffensive. Olga Skabayeva, host of State Russia 1 TV's 60-minute talk show, said the West had been doing it, quote, all it can to create the image of weak Ukraine whose shells are running out, which has nothing left at all. Man, you can just count on the Russians for spitting some mad mad shit talk. Oh man.
If they were fake, they wouldn't have arrested him.
What's that?
If the documents were really fake, they wouldn't have taken the time to arrest him.
Yeah. Big think, huh? Anyway. Oh, yeah. So questions about the authenticity of the documents have been raised in Ukraine, too, with some commentators accusing Russia of planting fake documents ahead of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. Subheadline: Disappearing documents. Multiple screenshots of the documents, often of poor quality, are still circulating on Twitter, Telegram, and Reddit. But the originals are much harder to find. A lot of the original copies have now disappeared from the chats where they were first emerged. Others who shared screenshots of Discord, Telegram, and Twitter have either wiped out their feeds or deleted their social media profiles altogether. And there's a great deal of paranoia too. One user has previously shared screenshots of the documents on Discord, told fellow users they've been trying to get rid of all the copies they had on their phone. Another was quick to respond to a plea to share more documents on the forum with, quote, "Nice try, FBI." And that's the end of the article. So...
Take that, fat boy.
I don't know. That's just going to only get them hornier, and they're going to try harder. They're just going to double down. So I don't know, like I don't know who the feds think they're fooling. Like, we know Ukraine's losing. And Of course they're fighting like the Japanese did during World War II. They're just throwing more bodies into the fire, desperately, because they just can't get enough of Western weapons and armor. That's as far as I understand what's going on. I don't know about you. I mean, I admire the spirit. I admire the willing to the die before surrender attitude. But I mean, like, if they just kill all of you, what's left? What are you defending? I mean, all your women fled to the rest of Europe. Like, what the fuck is left other than craters and shambles and rubble? Like, oh man. I guess Eastern Europe is just kind of like the Middle East at this point. Anyway. Yeah, so I know I should be giving more. I guess I should spend more time whenever we look at these things, look at these articles, and explain to the average viewer, okay, why is this important? Why are we looking at this? Well, I guess so. The useful takeaway from these two articles, again, it's very remarkable. Like the 1945 articles talking shit about Biden and Harris. I mean, the fact that they're willing to just stand up and say, look at our president, vice president, they're fucking retarded. Well, Joe Biden's old and retarded, and Kamala Harris is apparently, well, I guess more than just apparently, full of shit. That's a huge step. Like, when has anyone stood up and said that? I don't know what 1945 is up to, but clearly they feel confident in something. Obviously, you know, military nerd journal. They're probably appealing to clearly a Republican audience. And do I personally want those people in charge either? Not really. So what's the solution at that point? I'm not even sure. Not only do I wonder if there's any way to fix the United States, I wonder if we even should. Like, there's the BRIC system. I mean, if you're still living in the West, think about it. Think about emigrating. Like, what is America without the dollar? Yeah. just a giant mountain of fakeness and gayness. And like the debt wouldn't even mean anything anymore. All your stuff, what does that mean without money, right? And with the Pentagon leak, obviously, the government is watching you, regardless of how small you probably are. So watch what you say, and don't do anything crazy. Yeah. I think, okay, so what's interesting is that this BBC article, so it kind of like transitioned. So first he was just talking about, it shows you a picture of the Pentagon, which obviously is supposed to kind of scare you, right? And it says Pentagon leak, how secret US files spread, then vanished online. But then it just slowly transitions to more and more talking about how, psst, hey, Ukraine is losing. So I'm not sure exactly what they want the audience to think with this article, but it's just, it's like that Epic Games article where the article first talks about how, like, oh, Epic Games was violating the privacy of its child customer / players, and then eventually starts to just, and then if you really squint and look at the headline, it's actually a criticism of the Canadian government, which is wacky. You know, usually I know Tim Pool and a bunch of other people, me included, have always talked about how dog shit like journalism is, but sometimes little smart things like kind of seep out of there. I don't think, actually, no, I take that back. I don't think journalists are really stupid people. They know what they're doing. And every news article is, to some extent, fairly well engineered to either just get your attention or change emotionally, stroke your emotional fires, whether to make you horny, angry, or sad, or whatever. And yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. So, yeah, duh. FBI is everywhere. There are feds everywhere. It's up to you if you're doing something that deems you of concern. Of course, that's not new. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't have too many compelling new lessons to teach you or to explain in these articles. Yeah. So I guess looking at all of what we just talked about so far, the United States is obviously afraid of losing its hegemony. The United States government, chiefly, is shitting their pants, at the thought of it. And they're probably going to double down in their aggressive efforts to move the needle the other way. But you, as a concerned citizen of the West or the United States, it's really up to you. If you don't like the direction that this whole system is moving, I highly encourage you to leave. And I'm not saying this like, oh, get back to where you came from. America's the best. No. America has a lot of fucking problems. And I am of multicultural origin, and I do speak multiple languages. I have options as well to leave my current residence in the West. But of course, weigh your options. Look at the pros and cons. Ask yourself, is this really what you're realistically going to do? And just don't be afraid. Because whenever one door closes, well, another one opens. You may never know what kind of opportunity lies before you whenever you find a new home. Mobility is nobility, as you may have heard me say before. So stay mobile. In the meanwhile, unless AG has anything else to add, I would like to continue talking about Bud Light. It's a very interesting story that just keeps building on itself. What do you think?
I agree.
Yes. Okay, Fox News. Last Thursday. Headline: Bud Light's woke marketing executive roasted as a company loses billions after partnership with trans influencer. So, well, there's a video. Want to watch the video? It's 5 minutes.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So let me know if you can hear it. The subtitles are kind of small.
Anheuser-Busch is facing massive losses after its controversial partnership with transgender activist and influencer Dylan Mulvaney. The beer giant has seen its market value plummet nearly $5 billion since announcing the partnership with Dylan, a decision which was reportedly made without input from senior executives. Can we fact check that? And just days before the partnership went public, Bud Light's vice president of marketing outlined her plan to drastically overhaul the brand's image.
So I had this super clear mandate. It's like we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. What does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. We had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor. And it was really important that we had another approach.
Why do these people on the left like redefine words? Elevate. Elevate. You get into an elevator. Elevate means rise. Evolve means you grow. It doesn't necessarily mean what she said. You know, this is not a DE&I moment necessarily. But here's what's interesting. How could all of that be going on a Zoom and not one single senior executive knew that the whole company, Anheuser-Busch, was about to make an image switch?
So this is why the DEI stuff is so corrosive. So this is a marketing manager for a beer company, and she thinks her job is to evolve and elevate and raise and increase inclusivity. She's a beer salesman. The job of a marketing manager at Budweiser is to sell Budweiser. And so the question should be in the marketing meeting, is this going to sell more beer or is this going to hurt our beer sales? And the fact that nobody was willing to raise that question, why is that? Because maybe they'd be labeled transphobic. Because maybe their words would create a hostile work environment. Right now, LinkedIn says the second fastest growing job in America is DEI manager. That means that every major company in America is hiring a political commissar whose job is to promote inclusivity and push down the people who would say, this might be a dumb idea. This is not necessarily our demographic.
ESG money. Oh shit. Sorry. Go on.
We've got to sell beer. And you got all these young people who want to work for social justice organizations, but they don't want social justice organization salaries. She's making $450,000. Go, quit your job, take a pay cut, and go work for social justice if that's what you want to do. But otherwise, sell beer.
Carl, where are all these people getting all this experience in a lane that just kind of popped up out of the woke sky?
I think they're grifters and they're opportunists, and they see dollar signs and they said, "Oh yeah, I could do something like that." Like Justin Pearson, one of the Tennessee Three. He was a clean-cut young man talking about bipartisanship, and now he's some person who's just emoting from a podium. And he
might have been less than that if they hadn't canceled him.
Exactly.
They started the fire.
What I think is so funny too is that inclusivity means cutting out women, cutting out the fairer sex. I mean, my womanhood is not a costume. Why are you letting men do women's jobs? And this comes on the heels of, we played sports.
Let me stop you right there. Women are not the fucking fairer sex. Come on now. Fucking can it.
I played sports in college. I played soccer, and you have 40 athletes signing a document saying don't ban trans kids. I mean, women are actually fighting for our ability to have normal childhoods and those normal experiences that we did when I was growing up. They're pulling up the ladder behind him. Doesn't make sense.
Your husband, former Major League Baseball player, might have some feelings in your household about this. What do you guys think about like the whole idea of, because that experience at games has to do with imbibing a bit for some.
Yes, my husband's not a big imbiber, I will say, though I encourage him to at times. But anyway, yes. So putting that aside, it just befuddles me that companies do this, and it's everywhere in industry. It's in sports, it's in beer now. Disney, FoxNews.com had a great write-up about Disney's brand. I mean, Disney's job, to your point, Mark, is to make movies. Like Encanto's a great movie, Frozen's a great movie, Moana, but then they venture into this territory of trying to change kids' minds, like Disney Plus putting out something that denouncing Abraham Lincoln, talking about white fragility. Well, they lost 2.4 million subscribers. This is the consequence of getting into that territory.
Emily?
Yeah. In law, we have a concept, void for vagueness. And to me, the issue in part is because no one can even define that. So while everyone is trying to appoint a diversity and inclusion officer, how then are they going to ensure that the specificity that most of us operate under will be applied there? So the reason there was such a disconnect between the senior level at Bud Light and hers, because she's like, oh, inclusivity, got it. And then I'm going to go in and get this person that's the total opposite of what everyone wants to see on a beer can. Meanwhile, the senior executives are patting themselves on the back. Oh, she's totally going to nail it. Cut to, the whole world turns their back. So this level, the lack of specificity, the lack of definition in this whole murky new territory of being woke, no wonder, as you said, it's so corrosive. And unfortunately, it's not just the corporate sector, it's riddling our government too.
Yeah, and sports.
Yep, everywhere.
That was so beautiful.
Totally.
Put. That's exactly right.
Yep.
All right, well, that's a video.
Bud Light's parent company and
What's the main takeaway?
It's just okay. I really think this is just a splitting hairs issue. Obviously it's a bigger deal for like Kid Rock, but he's kind of like, clearly he's playing it up by shooting the cans and making all these, for the most part, inflammatory statements. He's getting some PR out of it. No such thing as bad publicity. Bud Light, I guess. Okay, let's do a fact check. Let's see what the the total net worth and the revenue levels. How big exactly is the Anheuser Busch company? Okay, let's see. All right, here's the Dutch article. Sorry. So Anheuser-Busch Companies, LLC. How big are they? Revenues, $15 billion. Net income, $9.8 billion. Now, my big takeaway, my big question here is like, okay, I don't care about your ideological bullshit. Blah, 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 blah. You're a white suburbanite. You don't like this. I don't care. Or if you're coming from the left, you're someone from the city who really believes in woke shit. I don't care. Like, those are just opinions. If I were Bud Light, I would have negotiated. I don't know. I probably would have had to flip a coin on whether or not I would have dealt with Mulvaney, the transgender person of concern. So was it in hindsight? Would you have? I think the idea was okay. Regardless of whether it's woke or not, we're gonna get some ESG money by appealing to the transgender movement and probably some publicity. But of course, Murphy's Law kicked in, and apparently it looks like they're probably losing more money than they're gaining out of this. Because Bud Light, as you imagine, it kind of attracts the crowd that is probably not interested in woke shit. Chiefly Americans from a rural culture or rural background, right? I think so the company wanted ESG money. And by reaching for that money, they've lost more than they may have lost more than what they might be earning. But again, my question whenever I look at this article is, how much is the ESG money? How much of an incentive was it? And I guess we'll find out by looking at watching the behavior of Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light. Obviously Bud Light's a brand within the Anheuser-Busch company. Because like whenever you look at woke stuff like Marvel, the people keep saying, "Oh, why don't they just stop this woke shit? Clearly the fans don't like it, and it's hurting their ratings and blah 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 blah." Like, well, fucking duh. Why do you think they're doing it? I don't know. It's ideological culture. No, shut the fuck up. No, money talks and bullshit walks. Politics appealing to woke people, for the most part, it's kind of bullshit. Now, again. What stimuli does the living organism of business respond to? There's only two, pleasure and pain. What are they? Pleasure is making money. Pain is losing money. And they'll, just like any living organism, they'll do whatever it takes to first survive, and then second, to eat, grow, and reproduce. Or to expand, right? So, and what is the medium to which that is done? Obviously, money. So, we will follow the money, and I guess since I guess I kind of missed it watching all these fucking Karens just talk about their stupid suburban lives. Let's go read the article to look at the numbers. So, the article says
Anheuser-Busch makes more than just Bud Light and Budweiser.
Yeah.
They also make Michelob
So if they
Ultra,
lose
they
Bud
Shock
Light.
Top, they make all kinds.
Now the question is, okay, are people going to I guess the boycott. So there's a boycott that's going on. I guess my question that the article probably answers: are they just boycotting? Are they just boycotting Bud Light, or are they boycotting all Anheuser-Busch products? So, unless you know, I guess I'll continue reading.
From what I've seen at the liquor stores, it's mostly just Bud Light and Budweiser and Busch that they're not drinking.
Right.
I think people are still buying Michelob because they don't associate Michelob with Anheuser-Busch, but it is.
But it still is Anheuser-Busch, right? And in the end, like the business just picks whatever they choose the path of least cost, least financial resistance. They'll do whatever it takes to keep their bottom line down because that's the point of a business. Duh. Whether or not they're hijacked by truly ideological people, you could say that, but how long would they last if they're just running off of ideological fumes? Like, hopes and dreams don't run a company, money does. So, anyway, yeah. Okay, anyway, unless you have anything else to add, back to the article. And by the way, feel free to interrupt me anytime. Our quote, the beer giant has reportedly seen its market value decrease by $5 billion in recent weeks, which is like, what, maybe a quarter of their yearly revenue? Budweiser marketing vice president Elisa Heinerscheid said the goal was to, quote, evolve and elevate the brand. Quote, she's a beer salesman, Thiessen countered. The, quote, the job of a marketing manager at Budweiser is to sell Budweiser. Thiessen argued on outnumbered. The main question that in a Budweiser marketing meeting should be, quote, is this going to sell more beer or is it going to hurt beer sales? Oh God. Oh God, that's a funny article. I guess we'll read that next. He then speculated no one raised the important question when discussing a possible partnership with transgender influencer for fear of being labeled, quote, transphobic or creating a hostile work environment. Thiessen noted that diversity, equity, and inclusion management is the second fastest growing job in America, according to LinkedIn. Quote, that means every major opportunity in America as in hiring political commissar is hiring a political commissar whose job is to promote inclusivity and push down the people who would say this might be a dumb idea, Thiessen explained. He told panelists that many young people are taking DEI management roles because they want to do social justice work while making a corporate salary. Okay, so I guess that's what they were talking about in the job. They don't want social justice organization salaries, he said. Quit your job, take a pay cut, and go work for social justice. That's what we want. Otherwise, I sell beer. Outnumbered co-host Kaylee McEnany. She says she's befuddled by this trend that is being seen in all industries from beer to sports and even Disney. It's ESG money, you dumb shits. Disney's job is to make movies. She said. Disney's job, she said, is to make movies. Quote, but then they venture into this territory of trying to change kids' minds. Like Disney Plus putting out something denouncing Abraham Lincoln while talking about white fragility, McKinney said, they already lost 2.4 million subscribers. This is the consequence of getting into that territory. It's really okay, yeah, that's basically reviewing the video. Yeah, well, again, how do these people not know what ESG money is? ESG incentives are. It's kind of disappointing that they didn't give us any hints as to how much. Well, I'm also sure it's a very tightly guarded secret, like fucking government top secret level secret. It's super secret, yo. We're super serial about it. Yeah. Again, do not underestimate. And I guess from here on, we'll just have to see what the company does. But I guess, like you said, like if the company can survive just like selling other products that weren't associated with Bud Light because, you know, people are fucking stupid and they think that Bud Light is its entire own corporate body. What Anheuser-Busch could do is just like, it's like a salamander who got its arm poisoned or got its arm injured. It would just shed it off and just drop it off and dump it and be like, you know, fuck you, Bud Light. We don't want you anymore. Bye. And then Bud Light's on their own. They got to deal with that shit by themselves. And Anheuser-Busch is like, no, we got to keep ourselves clean. Fucking shed that arm and grow a new one, or devote that energy, time, and money into like developing the other sub brands of Anheuser-Busch. Let's see what are the brands under it. So yeah, I guess to summarize, their products are beer, malt beverages, energy drinks, and bottled water. So these guys have got fingers in a lot of different pots. They can probably lose Bud Light and still truck on. So I guess it's like, oh yeah, there we go. Here's a NASCAR with Bush all over it. Like, yeah. I think in any case, like if they, wow, Wikipedia was already talking about the Dylan Mulvaney scandal, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I guess there's not really too much to learn for you as my dearest average viewer. I really challenge the idea of quote unquote get woke, go broke. Most people, obviously, like with the most of the products that are afflicted by the get woke, go broke rule, obviously are producing products that have nothing to do with likely their chief audience. people who drink beer probably, they probably vote Republican. They probably like watching NASCAR. What the fuck? What are these people thinking whenever they like clearly this marketing agent doesn't really know the crowd that they're appealing to, or maybe she does and she's trying to shift it to include the woke people. But then again, I'd imagine more woke people are like into like smoking weed instead of drinking alcohol. I don't know.
I'd imagine they'd be more into IPAs than drinking real beer.
They're probably all about their craft beer. They do their pub crawls on their their bikes, I guess. Or some stupid fucking gay shit like that. I don't know. I don't drink. I don't know shit about alcohol.
It'll eventually blow over. But one thing that is happening is people are starting to make their own companies for like counter wokeism. Like there was that chocolate company that came out with like a he, her, she, him chocolate bars. One has nuts, one doesn't.
Yeah, get it.
No, it was its own thing.
Right.
And
then
some dude made his own candy bar, and he was like, "Well, if you can't tell the difference between which one has nuts and which one doesn't, it's probably not for you."
That was clever. Usually the right has like really shitty dad jokes, but that one wasn't bad. I'll give it to them. What is that company? I just saw it like a couple weeks ago, and there's just too much fucking information going through my brain. I can't remember it.
You should Google the far right beer. It's called the far right beer. It just became a thing.
Oh shit! Right, you sent.
You have to like order.
Yeah, let me go play that video since it's like clearly very related to what we're talking about.
And their advertising is 100% woke free, is what they say.
All right, we'll go. Okay. Okay. So it's a YouTube video. I guess we'll watch it right now. Okay.
America's been drinking beer from a company that doesn't even know which restroom to use. That's why I created Conservative Dad's Ultra Right 100% woke-free beer. As conservatives, we're constantly getting hit in the face.
Oh, ultra right instead as a pun for ultra light.
Left and right by the woke mind virus. But the last place we want it is in our beer. If you know which bathroom to use, you know what beer you should be drinking. Stop giving money to woke corporations that hate our values. And to the rest of you woke corporations, stay the away from our kids.
Buy yours online in 42 states at ultrarightbeer.com.
Why only 42 states? All right, let me see if this is a real product. ultrarightbeer.com. Oh, whatever. Fucking... There we go. I'm 123 years old. Let me in. Okay, we do not ship to the following states: Alaska, Arkansas, Delaware, Hawaii, Mississippi, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Utah. Why? Anyway. So it's a real product, looks like. No thanks. Only 4 ingredients. Here's a sales pitch. So 6-pack, $20. Quote, Americans been drinking beer for a company doesn't even know which restroom to use. This is why we've made Conservative Dad's ultra-right 100% woke-free American beer. If you know which restroom to use or you know what beer you should be drinking, stop giving money to companies who hate our values. 100% made in America, Northern Illinois. Our Airy Special Golden Ale is currently in production and will ship on approximately May 11th, 2023. Only 4 ingredients, which is water, barley, hops, and yeast. Alcohol by volume, 4%, only 110 calories. So, hashtag not sponsored. I don't drink. I didn't care about anything I just read. But go check it out. I think and with all that said, I'm, along with that chocolate bar made by one of Matt Walsh's friends, I think, I really encourage the development of not only alt tech, but also alt economy. clearly these people they're not going to be as big as the companies that are like, milking that ESG fund or the ESG incentives, but it's really good to see some like more than, I'm guessing, I guess the right is finally done just talking shit and sending links and liking posts on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. And they're actually making real products that you can vote with your dollar. So, yeah, if you don't like the direction that the West is going, you've got two options. You can vote with your feet or vote with your dollar. And those, I can assure you, are much more fucking meaningful to not only yourself, but the community around you than voting in the political system. Because we all, you already know all the reasons why your vote is just really just a fucking waste of time. There's the questionability of the presidential election in the United States. There's just the fact that there's the electoral college. There's so many people that could be bribing the electoral college. What does it do for you? Better yet, who's going to stand in the line for that long? Vote with your feet and vote with your dollars. That's what I've been doing. That's what you should be doing. That's just my takeaway from this whole thing. And yeah. What else? Any more thoughts on the matter?
No.
All right. Okay. So, at this point, we could talk about quote, Trump indicted, live updates, ex-president expected to appear before judge Tuesday, or we could talk about like all the other shit I clicked on. What is it? I guess I could look for.
It really isn't much to talk about with the case.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have a case. The dude that's charged him with like 30 counts of the same charge, the exact same charge over and over and over again, just to see what shit sticks on the wall.
Yeah, clearly they're at the order of the Democrat Party. I'm sorry, under the order of the Democrat Party. And clearly, I don't believe any accusations that people accuse Trump of, like fucking anything. He's probably guilty of like tax evasion, just like literally every other person in the United States.
He released his taxes.
Yeah,
eventually,
and that's still not enough.
And you notice how no one talks about his taxes anymore?
Yeah, because they can't find it. There's nothing to work with, I guess. So, oh, by the way, the Hershey she/her parody is I just saw, what the fuck? It's called Jeremy's Chocolate, which is produced by the commercial is produced by Daily Wire, and I'm not sure if this is a real product. I kind of hope it is.
Google it.
Okay, okay, so oh it is. It is a real product apparently. So, Jeremy's Chocolate Binary, nuts and nut list. So there's the she/her version and the he/him. So like obviously the he/him bar has nuts in it, and she/her doesn't. Some chocolate companies don't even know what a woman is, but we do. Indulge in the chocolate binary, one with nuts, one without. You know which is which. Features include 1.5 ounce bars, milk chocolate, a perfect union of 50-50 to each bar type, he, him, and she, her. Made with fair trade cocoa. It is kosher certified, soy-free. The he, him bar consists of, quote, fair trade cocoa butter, fair trade organic cane sugar, dry milk powder, dry roasted diced almonds, fair trade cocoa powder. Allergy disclosure, obviously, milk almonds, duh. She/her bar includes fair trade cocoa butter, fair trade organic cane sugar, dried milk powder, fair trade cocoa powder. So, yeah, $25 for 4-pack. 10-pack is $46. 24-pack is $100. It's pretty overpriced, but I don't know. I might buy it as a joke. I think it's cute. Oh, nutrition facts. So yeah, here's an image of it. Obviously, I just set your expectations. It's a fucking chocolate bar. It's going to be mostly fat and sugar, but yeah. Again, I encourage this. I encourage the right to develop their own, albeit slightly less efficient, albeit not as cost-effective, parallel economy. I think that would change a lot of things. And if it grows to the point where you have all these different products, services, and like, God forbid, an alternative currency or whatever, if you're a YouTuber like me and you fully integrate yourself into basically supporting all of your aspects of your survival and future, you can finally dox yourself and not have anything to worry about. If you think about it, I don't know. I better not get too ambitious, but yeah.
Well, we already have Truth Social and Elon Musk buying out Twitter.
There's a start. There's the beginning. Elon Musk is, I don't know. I used to see him as God, but then I'm starting to back off on that because I know this isn't indicative of Elon Musk's statements, and I know that OpenAI is just kind of doing their own thing while piggybacking off of Elon Musk money. But clearly he's a businessman. He cares about his bottom line. The ideology, I'm not sure. I guess it's because that he already has enough cannon fodder to load his cannon up with. He has enough revenue to like basically do whatever the hell he wants. He kind of starts to, once all others are equal. He already got a ton of ESG money with Tesla. By the way, Tesla completely, although they produce a commercially effective product, they're mostly powered by ESG money. They wouldn't have gotten anywhere without it. But aside from that, Elon Musk he's taking the side of like not government. I'm sure I've covered as well the fights that he had with the California government several years ago, and as well as just his general distaste of like the current American regime. He probably starting to inject his own beliefs as an afterthought. That's not his primary shtick, as it shouldn't be. His products are not supposed to be political. But he is taking the liberties of making himself political. That being said,
I think he was the only major corporation pushing back on the whole COVID lockdown thing. He kept his factories going with
celebrate
minimum staff, I think.
Right. And I think
said that he's making sure everybody's social distancing. And I think he was threatened to be arrested. He goes,
come do it. Come at me, bro.
I think California threatened to arrest the workers, and he goes, "Well, if you're going to arrest anybody, arrest me. But you do that, I'm going to move all of my factories out of California. I don't give a fuck."
And they
didn't do anything.
Open in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Things are moving around. TFM's still beating his collapse drum, and he's getting everyone to be like preppers and move off grid or whatever the fuck. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I kind of disagree, but I mean, it's not completely an invalid move either. It
would never hurt to know how to farm and how to raise, simple animals like chickens and sheep, and having basic skills. How many people that are young know how to farm, know how to raise animals, know how to take care of themselves?
The only thing you can do whenever you try to find these societies to live in. I mean, if you're handy with tools, if you're a doctor, like medical doctor, and especially paramedics or even any like sit down, like I guess toxicology, pharmacology, etc. Those are all also very valuable positions. Even TFM says this. Whether you build that plant, okay, I guess if you want to quote unquote leave, if you try to you can build your group. If you have enough people, you can definitely build a self-sustaining community. But other than that, I would say, if you want to be best prepared, your best insurance is not a fucking stockpile of dried rice or those like like 4 Patriots dried food. Like that's just a fucking waste of money. It's not even ammunition. It's not even guns. Your best asset to offer someone in the most pessimistic of economic collapse scenarios is practical skills and an able body. You have an able body that supports your mind, so you can think rationally. If you have, again, a mechanic / repairman, handyman, doctor, farmers and farming communities need these people, and they will pay a lot of, you'll be rewarded handsomely for bringing those skills to their community. And in the end, if you're just one prepper by himself, you're fucked. Period. Whether it's the government or nature itself killing you. One guy by himself is, for the most part, a death sentence. You need to have a community. Whether it's where you are right now, talking to your neighbors, whether it is out in the boonies with another group of people, you need to have other people. Otherwise, what the fuck are you doing? How long do you expect to survive? So that's just another reminder of the 2 cents I have on the preparing for the collapse. But other than that, I just don't get worked up about it. I'm like, how much of that do you even have fucking control over? Right, not very much. So what's more important is about the way you see your future going and addressing your personal issues as one man or woman, as few female viewers as I anticipate to have. And that's just a much more sensible way to go about looking at the issue, in my opinion. Or what also happens is that we might not even have to do that at all. Maybe the either an economic shift towards the not woke retardation that we are currently in the midst of, or a divergence in the quote-unquote right-wing parallel economy, for lack of a better term. That's also possible. Maybe all of these at once to some extent. Like the BRICS system. So the BRICS is going to come up with like their BRICS coin. What, I guess we could just call that for reference. And people are going to use the BRICS currency to buy Jeremy's chocolate and ultra right beer or whatever the fuck, along with whatever other stuff that comes up along the way. That's also a possibility. Because, why would you want to leave like the well-built infrastructure of the United States and the Western world? It can be useful if it's used by the right people, right? So, I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. I've got a lot going on in my personal life. And I encourage you not to really be more upset about it than I am, as a concerned, non-woke, non-retarded person on the internet. Or rather in real life. That happens to be watching my show. Thank you for your viewership, by the way. Yeah. I don't know. Interesting to see all these news. I like what I see. Back to Trump. Yeah, so clearly they're still trying to punish him for standing up to the quote-unquote machine. Stormy Daniels. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not compelled to talk too much about this topic because clearly I'm not the best one to consult. But I guess what you might be looking for is my 2 cents on the matter. I don't believe Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels she's obviously a porn star. She's been paid to fuck a lot. What reason is there to believe that she did anything really different happened between her and Trump so many years ago? Yeah. I don't know what was okay. I'll let you start this one. What was the joke that we had before we started the show about Stormy Daniels and Trump and how basically women don't get paid to fuck him, but rather they pay to fuck him?
Oh, Stormy Daniels sued Trump.
Okay. And
Trump won, of course, because he can afford better lawyers. And Stormy owns him I think it was like $300,000. She owes him $300,000, and I think it's more than what he gave her to just stay quiet when he was running for president.
Hush money.
he did it the legal way, which was a non-disclosure agreement. The businesses make that kind of stuff all the time. The two parties got together and they agreed on a price for said thing, and they did it with lawyers. They did it legally.
I mean,
our former president is such a hot commodity that porn stars pay him to have sex.
Well, AG said it better than I could. If I were Trump, like, I would be aware of this. And if I were Trump, I'd probably already understand, hey, Melania doesn't want to fuck me anymore. I guess I'll just jerk off to hentai now. Because, ironically, being at such a position of power, you stand only to lose it whenever you get other women involved in it. By fucking all the other women as a supreme, superb alpha male, I guess. Well, apparently that's well, financially at least. So, what hush money at that point to me is just like negotiating with terrorists. So let's say you're Trump, you fucked Daniels, and Stormy Daniels is like, you know what? Having sex with you is really awful. So how about you pay me some money so I don't like talk shit about you and ruin your career? Then you're in the position of this hypothetical Trump of like 20 years ago. You're no longer in control of that transaction. So Daniels can just name her price at that point. And then whatever price she puts on it, you get to pay that. Otherwise, like, if you're going to go to court about it, like, where's the accountability in that kind of transaction? Like, Daniels could be like, you know what? I don't think that's enough money. So how about I publicize this unless you change it up and you start paying me $500,000? What can Trump say in that kind of situation? Other than to go public with the whole affair to begin with. Which I guess he didn't really lose that much because, like, if I were that big of a fan of Donald Trump, I wouldn't care. What the fuck does his scandal with Stormy Daniels have to do with his job as, I don't know, a businessman or as president of the United States? Not really that much. Everyone's got skeletons in their closet. I mean, fucking, let's in case you haven't heard it enough already, like Hillary's Benghazi emails. So people, and of course the skepticism you have of whoever might be United States president or CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company should be heavily scrutinized. There should be critical thought on these people, just like there should be critical thought in everything in life. But of course people don't want to do that. So they resort to fucking bullshit like, Trump had sex with porn stars. Do you want someone that can be your president? Yeah, history repeats itself. That's nothing new there. Nothing new to see there. But yeah, in case you're a rich and famous man who happens to be watching my show for some fucking reason, just don't fuck women. Go gay. Well, there could be scandals with that too. I don't just keep it in your pants. Just take your money, be a rich man who is very influential in the world, and don't let these fucking sirens seduce you with their song to wreck your ship and steal your money. Because clearly that's all these harlots care about. So, I don't know. I know that's kind of weird, kind of niche advice. It probably applies to pretty much 0% of my audience, but those are my thoughts on the matter. Never pay hush money because that's just negotiating with terrorists. Because, again, being famous, like, there's always that risk. People will claw and fight to high heavens, hell and back to get a slice of your fame and your success and your influence and most importantly, your money. And if I were in that position, let's say if I was Donald Trump and I already fucked Stormy, and I'm like, well, I kind of regret it, but I must face my consequences of my decisions as a orange man of free will. I'm going to make it huge. I'm going to double down. I'm going to get as much marketing out of it as possible. And I'm going to make sex scandals great again. So, that's the way I'd approach it. Like, come at me, Stormy. I didn't make you come this time, but I'm going to make you come this time. So, come at me, bro. I don't give a fuck. Sue me. I have the best lawyers. I am huge. I have a very loyal fan base. And I might run for president again. Come and stop me. Yeah. I don't know, my Trump impersonation's kind of been weak. I'll admit. I need to work on it. So.
Are we out of topics?
I went through all the tabs. Do you want more? I mean, we're a pretty short show today, I will admit. We're only at 1 hour and 25 minutes. I don't know. You got anything? Covered a lot today.
The aluminum in the far right beer is probably from China. That's all I got.
That's just the whole facade of American nationalism. So like the country's literally built on foreign materials. Everything. The cars, electronics, the infrastructure, like, well, I guess that goes back to like in terms of internet infrastructure, obviously electronics, mostly from Asia. Both in manufacturing and design. I guess like houses, maybe some guns, but Russian, Turkish guns are kind of definitely competitors in the American gun market. What the fuck isn't built by foreign countries? So what does American nationalism mean anymore? So I guess when it comes to like these anti-woke products, like I guess what is it, ultra right beer and Jeremy's chocolate. What draws me to this is not the American nationalism. I guess I'm sure this is more about conservative dads, ultra right, woke, like anti-woke beer. What would draw me to that product again, if I actually drank alcohol, would be the fact that it's just not woke, and it's finally it's a foot placed on the ground to push against the endless parade of ESG money flowing into corporate wallets. In pretty much every regard of your life. Like if you really look everywhere, and this might just be confirmation bias, but ESG is starting to be everywhere. It's affecting the design of your car. Well, I guess cars have always been being at the behest of environmental regulations. It's affecting like business, zoning, environmental incentives, environmental regulations. It's affecting. It's
in your sports that you love watching.
Yes, exactly. These transgender athletes, is probably ESG money going along in there. Plus, no such thing as bad publicity. They see that, having these stunning and brave transgender women kick the shit out of their cisgender female competitors. That gets attention. That gets money. Whether or not that's ESG, hard to say. Even I can't say for sure. Everywhere you look, ESG is pushing in that direction, is to inject politics where they didn't really ever belong. And the only good thing I've seen come out of ESG personally, and again, let me know if you think otherwise, which I'm sure no one here will, no one, at least in my audience. The only remotely good thing I've seen come out of ESG is Tesla. Tesla's finally made EVs somewhat stylish. And I'm sure they're not bad cars, though I've never been in one personally. But of course, it depends on what you really want out of a car. And I probably won't really. If I were a rich person, I'd buy one as a tax break and as like a really no bullshit like short distance commuter. But other than that, I mean, I know that's kind of a tangent. Like, yeah, ESG's fucking everywhere. And I might get these products just to put them on a shelf and like just as a conversation piece to teach people about like the ins and outs of, again, ESG incentives along with like the broader political and economic issues orbiting around it. So, yeah, I don't know how we got started in that tangent, but that's just thoughts on that particular matter. But I guess I could dig around in my server real quick, see if there's any other good topics that we can hit everyone with. Did I talk about frozen eggs last month? I think I did. Oh, what's this? TheVerge.com. Oh, we already talked about that. Okay. Shorts. Short topics. I don't know. We already beaten the shit out of the F-150 Lightning. We've already talked about jet fighters. There's this weird article. I don't know, because it's probably not that interesting. Associated Press talks about how how the environmentalists say wasted gas hurts climate and state revenue. What kind of gas? I don't know. Oh, natural gas. What else?
Governor of Florida punished Disney by starting making them pay their taxes, and they're no longer able to operate like they're their own country in Florida anymore.
Their own country? What the fuck?
Yeah, the land that fucking the amusement park on is. It's pretty much like its own country.
Oh, do you guys? Okay, you're the history buff. Remember, like the corporate towns, like the Rockefeller Company tried to build for its employees, just basically like own the people that worked for them. Is that what Disney was trying to do there?
No, it pretty much like whatever happens in there, it's like, it's like whatever because they're in charge, but they're not in charge.
Wow.
I remember.
Yeah, Disney has Disney's come a really long way from their original the original.
Because of I'm sure because of the amount of travel that people do just to go to Disney. Like, they pretty much didn't have to pay taxes. Now they're having to pay taxes on all that stuff that they have there.
What do you think? How do you feel about that situation?
It doesn't really bother me at all.
So on one hand, like, I guess some people would get a sense of catharsis thinking that, okay, well, Disney's finally getting punished for their woke shit. They're finally going to pay their fair share of taxes, but how long can you say that before you end up, like, sliding to the left? Beating the drum like, oh, we need the rich to pay their fair share of taxes so I can abuse the social services myself. Which is what the Republicans often do as well. Anyway.
Well, I don't have anything else to add. I think I'm going to chime out. Can I shout myself out again?
Sure, go ahead.
Alcoholic Gaming, just how it's spelled on my name here. Just go onto YouTube, go find the shitty Nazi zombie playlist. Go check it out. I might post more, I might not. Yeah, that's it.
No? The fuck?
Alright, good night.
Where the fuck is this channel, damn it? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, go check out Alcoholic Gaming. There should be a link in the description, but I will double check that later. Well, I don't know. I guess I'll just touch on this really quick. I won't even read it. I don't see anything here. I think in the broader sense, looking at the big picture, so whenever, in case you didn't know, student loan forgiveness is literally another form of buying votes. So here's how it works. So a bunch of fucking college students who probably got 3 PhDs in underwater lesbian basket weaving, I'm sure. Very, very, very useful, very, very economically important, highly educated individuals, right? Are the deal the deal that these protests, quote unquote protests, are asking for is, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Politician, grant me these and I will vote for you. What politician would say no with the infinite budget of the American financial system? Oh, exactly. So, yeah, people make irresponsible decisions with their education, of all things. Forget taking loans to buy the new fucking, I don't know, buy the newest, shiniest pickup truck. Forget all the loans to buy an unreasonably large house that you never are going to fully utilize. How about what's the third biggest expense? Well, actually, the second biggest expense just behind a house. That's right, your fucking college degree. So here's another thing you can try to use to bribe with your politicians and further corrupt American democracy by begging for student loan forgiveness. Another form of being paid for your vote. Buying votes. Correct. So, how about this one? Let's see what this is about. Environmentalists, wasted gas hurts climate, state revenue. Oh, fuck it. I guess I'll just read it. And if you're interested, here you are. You were welcome. New Orleans by Associated Press. Louisiana lost more than $82 million worth of natural gas in 2019 due to leaks, venting, or flaring at production sites, according to a study released Thursday by an environmental group and government watchdog organizations. The Environmental Defense Fund's report stated that state fossil fuel producers wasted more than 27 billion cubic feet of gas in 2019. It's an economic loss for the state, a report said, estimating the tax and royalty revenue lost to state government that year, $2.5 million. The report also said it was an environmental hazard because methane, a major component of natural gas, is a contributor to climate change. More than 81% of natural and wasted gas is from leaks, less than 1% was from purposeful venting, and 19% was lost by flaring. Releasing gas by venting small amounts or burning it is done for a variety of possible reasons, including safety and economics. Quote, that's enough lost gas to meet more than two-thirds of residential natural gas demand in the state for a year, a statement accompanying the report said. The research was done by Synapse Energy Economics Incorporated, a consulting firm that various environmental groups and municipal, state, and federal agencies among its clients. The report comes as the Federal Environment Protection Agency considers rules aimed at preventing gas releases, including inspection requirements for well sites. The state is also setting in motion a process for developing rules to deal with the issues, said Patrick Corrigan, a spokesperson for the State Department of Natural Resources. Whether that includes oil and gas producing states are adopting and seeing how those regulations might work in Louisiana. Corrigan, who, while not commenting on the accuracy of the report's figures, said reducing gas emissions is a department goal. Quote, we'd rather keep it in the pipes and send it somewhere doing work, he said in a telephone interview. State and federal authorities have stepped up efforts to address leaks from, quote, orphan wells, which are non-producing abandoned well sites that are still leaking contaminants. Two watchdog groups joined the Environmental Defense Fund in calling in policies to address the issue. Quote, outdated policies would keep billions of dollars worth of natural gas from getting to market at a time where budgets are tight and energy security is more important as ever. Autumn Hanna, Vice President and Taxpayers for Common Sense, said in a statement issued by the fund. Quote, when the industry is allowed to waste natural gas, it robs the state of important tax revenue, which is then has to be made up through other taxes or leave the state without the revenue it needs to fund critical programs, added Jan Mueller of the Louisiana Budget Product. So, call me on my ignorance, and I'll agree with you. I'm not quite sure why these natural gas companies are destroying their own product. I guess it's because there's just so much natural gas available that they must destroy it in order to keep their product priced at a reasonable amount. I guess it's just like the overproduction of farmers whenever they burn their own crops just to make sure that it sells at at a profitable rate, because there's just so much of a fucking oversupply of it. So as ignorant as I am about this topic, I guess it kind of makes sense as to why the government is doing this. Or rather, the people are aware of it and they're trying to pressure the natural gas companies to stop destroying the product. But of course, that's only one facet of like the issue at hand. The issue is obviously chiefly economic. It's about supply and demand. Too much supply, same demand, price goes way down. And if you drop the price too much, well, then what incentive would there be for any energy companies to produce it at all? So, $82 million worth of natural gas in 2019 due to leaks. And it's not like this. And I guess this is kind of like, I guess it's the black hole in the law of conservation of money. So when you burn away the natural gas, well, it's completely useless. And it's literally money being disappearing. So I guess that's the exception to the rule of the statement of the money cannot be created or destroyed. I guess you're literally destroying money. Or are you not really destroying anything because that just concentrates the value into the smaller pool of natural resources available, into smaller pool of natural gas available? I don't know. That's one to think on. Let me know what you think. Clearly, this article is getting ratioed pretty badly. 165 likes to 819 dislikes. This comment about, haha, look at the environmentalists, they're hypocrites. Yeah, they fucking are. They know that. They don't give a shit. Why should you? Yeah, 50,000 tons of material must be excavated to get enough for lithium for one EV battery. Yep. Nobody cares that they're hypocrites. Why do Republicans hate air that they can breathe and water they can drink? Well, yeah. Just shut the fuck up. No one believes your environmentalist bullshit. Yeah. So, okay. Normally I'm against the environmentalists, but they kind of have a point. Well, why are the natural gas companies burning all this natural gas? Like, forget the fucking environmental bullshit. What about American energy independence? So, do you want America to be energy independent? If not, well, that's kind of not a reason to stick around in that country, which is why, again, if you care about preserving the Western system to be competitive against BRICS, you might want to look at that, right? Just a suggestion. What do I know? I'm just some asshole on the internet, right? I talk shit about biology, and I ride my bike. Yeah, what the fuck do I know? Anyway. Right around the 1 hour 40 mark. I guess that's just the magic number for whenever I do a lot of solo shows. I don't know, I kind of blew through the topics pretty quickly and covered a lot of ground in this time. Sorry, my chair's squeaky. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. I got some other shit to do today, so I guess I'll just end the show here. Go check out Alcoholic Gaming once again. He's not as active as he used to be, but I don't know. I don't know how much longer I might be doing this show, honestly. I think this is probably about the right amount of time to invest into it because I want to push myself to look at news articles critically and not lose the skill of critical perspectives, I guess. Critical examination of news and phenomena around the world. But at the same time, I don't think I'm really going to put in more effort than this. So, if nobody watches it, I mean, it's just for me at this point. I don't care. But if you are watching, I'm not here to tell you to buzz off. I appreciate your viewership, and I prefer to talk to people. And if not, and I just truly get bored of this show, well, I have other things I'd like to do in my life, all competing for my time, and I'm sure you do too. So, in any case, thank you once again. And that settles it for the 14th episode of the AVC show. And I will see you next week. Goodbye.